Thank you for joining me here this afternoon. The time is currently 3:01 p.m. Central, and you have a live look at a severe thunderstorm currently moving through Decorah, Iowa. Now, this storm has a history of producing some serious wind damage across areas like Kalmar, and it even has had a couple of reports of funnel clouds back whenever it was closer to Cresco. So, this is a very dangerous storm that we're going to have to watch as it heads towards Walken here, as it is going to have the capabilities to produce damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. It has already left several customers without power here in northeastern Iowa. If we go ahead and take a look at how many customers exactly are without power here, we can see that in Winneshiek County, Iowa, we have about 250 customers without power. In Mower County, Minnesota, we have about 350 customers without power. And back towards Cottonwood County, Minnesota, we have about 5 customers without power. So we are already seeing some power outages here from our severe thunderstorms moving through northeastern Iowa. Now, this is not it. All right, we're not even close to being done with this event. We are going to see many severe thunderstorms develop today across parts of northeastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. We already have some convection up here into portions of north central Minnesota, and as this heads off to the east, where we have the severe weather ingredients in place today to potentially have a big-time severe weather outbreak, we're going to have to watch these little rain showers here very closely. Now, the Storm Prediction Center is already talking about issuing a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch, and I think it's going to be issued any minute now, as again, we already have convection firing off here. They're also talking about issuing one back down here where we have our severe storms, and again, I think they might issue one because, we already have severe storms down here. Now, if you watched our last stream, or stream earlier this morning, you'll know that we had some serious flooding ongoing in Florida, and we have a flash flood emergency now for Hollywood, Florida. This is breaking. This only happened about 24 minutes ago. I did not even see this, but we have a flash flood emergency now in Florida. This is a catastrophic situation. This is for the Miami area. If you're in this area, you got to get to higher ground now. This is a flash flood emergency. Again, the National Weather Service in Miami has issued a flash flood emergency for Broward and Miami-Dade counties in southeastern Florida here. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Seek higher ground immediately. I did not even realize we had a flash flood emergency. I'm going to be honest with you guys. But there we go. Flash flood emergency in effect now in southeastern Florida. Again, we are expecting catastrophic flood damage to come out of Hollywood. This is a life-threatening situation. You got to get to higher ground right now if you haven't already, if you're out here. But yeah, we have some strong storms still ongoing in southern Florida, again, producing catastrophic flash flooding. But again, our main focus is actually going to be on our storms up here in northeast Iowa as they continue to produce some big-time damaging winds and a tornado potential. Again, we've gotten a report of a funnel cloud here. This is back closer to the Elma area, but we've gotten funnel cloud reports. This is, doing a lot of damage to trees. So I think that this, little line of storms here, this cluster of storms, is going to continue to head eastward here into portions of southwestern Wisconsin and continue to produce a big-time wind damage threat. And then again, also maybe a tornado threat with those storms as well. Again, we've got our cluster of showers up here in north-central Minnesota near Big Fork that we'll have to watch to see if they try and become, a thunderstorm or even a severe thunderstorm, or maybe even a tornadic thunderstorm. Really anything is going to be possible today. There's Connor Croft. He just popped up on your screen. We do have a good set of storm chasers out there today, some of the best in the world. We got Vince Welty, Corey Gherkin, Brandon Kopic, and Connor Croft all out here in in Minnesota today, chasing these severe thunderstorms and tornadoes once again. So we got good storm chasers out here today, so that's good. And again, if you're just not tuning in, we have a flash flood emergency in Florida. These are just as rare and just as dangerous as tornado emergencies. So if you're in this area, you have to get to higher ground right now. We are talking about 1 to 2 feet of rain. 1 to 2 feet of rain possible in this area. Holy crap, dude. We already have over 10 inches of rain in Hollywood. Insanity. I wouldn't be surprised if this area, the Interstate 75 corridor, gets a flash flood emergency either. They have also got several spots with close to, 1.5 feet of rain even. Got several spots, in the teens in terms of their inches of rainfall. So it is ridiculous. And unfortunately, the flooding is only going to continue to get worse. It's not going to get better for a while. Our flash flood emergency does not include downtown Miami. It does not include downtown Fort Lauderdale. But again, it does include Hollywood here. Look at all these flooding reports. All these little green blobs here are your flooding reports. So cars are being trapped in the water. Water on flooded roadways approximately 6 inches to a foot. That was an hour ago. But we're getting, 5 inches of rain per hour. It's going to be even worse now, obviously. And yes, you heard me correct. 5 inches of rain per hour. If we actually just go ahead and take a look back here, look at this. Watch this loop. This is the past 50 frames. Look at all that rain just absolutely stack on, and it's been getting more and more dramatic here over the past couple of hours. This is starting out at 10 a.m. and it goes until 3 p.m. Look at this. All of this rain. Ridiculous. Jeez Louise. And again, we might even get a flash flood emergency closer to the Interstate 75 corridor, because look at that. That's over 15 inches of rain. That little green spot right there, that indicates rain over or at 15 inches. So again, we're getting close to 1.5 feet of rain in some areas, which is absolutely insane. Cannot believe it. Again, flash flood emergency for Hollywood here. This is a particularly dangerous situation. You got to run to higher ground immediately. So back up to our storms up here in Iowa. Again, they are continuing to be severe in the Decorah area. Moving eastward, they're going to parallel Highway 52, Highway 1852 here, as they head towards areas like Postville, Monona, Waterville, and Walken. They're going to ride Highway 52 and Highway 18 towards portions of northeast Iowa and southwestern Wisconsin here. So, again, if you're in that area, make sure that you are inside. Those are some very dangerous storms that have had a history of producing wind damage all the way back into southern Minnesota here around 2 hours ago in the Freeborn County area in Twin Lakes. There have been trees downed, power lines downed, again, tree branches down. There's been funnel clouds, estimated winds of about 60 miles per hour, and it just keeps chugging along here. Again, if we play it on the past 50 frames, you can really see it kind of evolve. See it rip through here with its damaging winds. It continued to get bigger and bigger, and here we are. A little bit of an MCS there. For sure. So again, we're waiting to see if the Storm Prediction Center, or rather when the Storm Prediction Center is going to issue their watch. They're going to issue it, there's no question about that, but the question at this point is when. So look at this. This is a graphic from the National Weather Service in Miami. I'm going to go and pull it up on your screen here. Significant to extreme flash flooding possible. Look at this. The highest indicator there on their scale. Extreme. We are talking about extreme flash flooding for the Fort Lauderdale area down to Miami. Significant to extreme flash flooding is possible through this evening along the urban corridor between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's insane. Again, these are all your flood alerts. We have flash flood warnings. We got flood advisories, flood watches. We got, rip current statements, special marine warnings, flood advisory. It's ridiculous. It is. And again, we even have that flash flood emergency there. Let's see if we can find it. Yep, this is the one. So, again, if you are in southern Broward County or northern Miami-Dade County, you are in one of the most dangerous situations you will be in your entire life, as you have a literal catastrophe occurring on your front doorstep. So again, if you're in that area, you have to get to higher ground now. Do not wait. because that rain is going to unexpectedly pile on, especially whenever the gauges get full, which, I mean, they're already full by this point. As you can see, radar and gauge indicated. The gauges are already way past full. I don't even know why at this point they're saying it's radar indicated whenever we have so many reports of flash flooding out of this area. So, anyway, again, flash flood emergency down there in Hollywood. But back up to our Iowan storms here. Again, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings right now for portions of Windshiek, Fayette, Alamake, and Clayton counties. Alamake. In northeastern Iowa there. Again, we're continuing to watch this little rain shower here in Minnesota, see how that progresses. The threat for severe weather, the greatest threat for tornadoes is going to be 4 to 6 p.m., I would say. I'd say that's a proper time frame there. If we take a look here at what the HRRR is saying, right, we have, see, it was painting no convection at 3 p.m., actually, it was painting this little rain shower here in north central Minnesota, and that's what we have, so it got that right. But it's saying at around 4 p.m., you know, hey, we get some supercells to start to fire off here in northwestern Minnesota, all right? Then by 5 p.m., we have some very extreme supercellular potential here across portions of north central and northeastern Minnesota here. Areas like Bemidji, Grand Rapids, Duluth, Virginia, Ely, International Falls, all these areas here are going to have a very high tornado threat, I would say, around 4 to 6 p.m. Look at 6 p.m. Look at this. Insanity. Look at all these supercells, guys. Now, the thing is, the tornado threat will decrease at this time because these supercells are way too close to each other to, you know, be discrete and produce a potential tornado threat, probably. I mean, it can be ruled out. We can't rule out an isolated tornado or two after 6 p.m., but it's not quite as likely as these storms kind of bunch together and the damaging wind and large hail threat increases, but the tornado threat goes down. But I will say, very large hail with these storms. We've got the HRRR predicting DBZ values up to 73 on some of these storms, which is rare. By the way, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning now. That's going to be, it's doing the thing where it disappears, but it'll reappear here in a second. So, again, that's our tornado threat time frame, but the damaging wind and large hail threat increases after the tornado threat ends, all the way through to the nighttime hours here. So anyway, our new severe thunderstorm warning is for Miami-Dade County here. This does include downtown Miami. This is for the threat of 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts and a possible tornado. So if you're in this area, you need to get indoors. And unfortunately, this area overlaps with our area where we have our flash flood emergency. So it is going to be nearly impossible to stay, 100% completely safe in this area. I don't want to scare anybody, but it's going to be rough. You have to try to survive. You have to listen to your local officials. It is going to be a deadly situation out here. Again, I don't want to scare anybody. I don't. But this is the kind of situation where, a little scaring may be necessary. So we're going to quad box here. We'll focus on our Iowan storms a little bit more later. Right now, we need to look at our Floridian floods and the severe weather rolling through here. So we're going to go and zoom out. Look at this. This is what we're going to be working with here. This is our storm that we're going to be watching for quite a while, as again, it is currently warranting a flash flood emergency. So again, this is a life-threatening situation. This is a deadly, dangerous storm that is, again, not only producing catastrophic flash flooding, but also now damaging winds and a possible tornado. We got a little bit of rotation here. East of Highway 997, north of Highway 41. It's going to head eastward towards Hialeah in Miami, as well as Miami Beach. So again, just not sitting in, flash flood emergency for Hollywood, Florida. This is a rare and life-threatening situation where the catastrophic flash flooding is so bad that the National Weather Service has issued the highest level of weather warning that exists, the emergency tag. A flash flood emergency. This is insane. Again, this is a catastrophic situation now. For areas from Miami back up to Fort Lauderdale, you have to get to higher ground immediately. Again, now we gotta be watching this little area rotation here. Alright. So again, this storm's going to continue to produce damaging winds. The tornado threat's lower, though, with that newest velocity scan. I will say it's not quite as impressive there. The rotation's mostly gone. I mean, it was broad to begin with, but now it's just almost completely gone, actually. So anyway. Insane stuff here happening in Florida right now. Again, over 15 inches of rain is starting to be the total for some places here, and it's only going to get worse. It's not even the final total. I shouldn't say it's the total, but it's already getting to 15 inches of rain, or over 15 inches of rain. In some specific spots here. And those same spots that already have that much rain are going to get more and more. Look at this. The reflectivity on a spot that already has 15 inches of rain, we have another band of heavy shower and thunderstorm activity coming through that is just going to absolutely pile on the rain. We are literally going to see some spots get to a foot and a half of rain by the end of this, maybe even higher. Somewhere between a foot and a half and 2 feet of rain. This is going to be some of the most devastating flash flooding that this part of the world has seen in quite a while. This is something that you would see out of a hurricane. Because, again, this is an invest. Alright, it's trying to become a tropical cyclone, but the good news is it's not going to be able to do that on land, obviously. So, it may turn into something after it crosses through Florida, but right now it can't become a tropical cyclone. But I mean, we're still seeing similar effects to what we would have if we had a tropical storm or a tropical depression. We're getting tornadoes, flash flooding, high winds. Hello, Cyanimates. The only difference is that we don't have storm surge. Now, the fresh rainfall, the fresh water, is going to make it, it's going to make it feel like we do have storm surge. Alright, the storm surge is just going to be, I mean, it wouldn't make too much of a difference if we had a storm surge or not. I mean, it's already catastrophic flooding, so that would just make things worse, but this is already enough to cause very significant damage. So again, this is a tropical storm-like system. Not too many differences that has from a tropical storm at this point. Let's go up to our Iowa storm real quick. Hello, Cyanimates. I don't know if I already said hello or not. I meant to. So anyway, we now have, again, about 900 customers in Windshiek County in Iowa without power. And this storm continues to produce damaging winds as it heads eastward towards Postville and other parts of far northeast Iowa, the northeast corner of Iowa there. Cannot believe this. Again, this is an FFE, a flash flood emergency. 4 areas like Hollywood, in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. But even if you're in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, it's still catastrophic flash flooding. It's just in between those areas, it's a whole nother level where the National Weather Service thinks that it's bad enough to issue the highest level weather warning that exists, so that should tell you something. But even the other even Miami and Fort Lauderdale, you still have flash flood warnings. You still have considerable flash flood warnings even. So you should still be taking that seriously and getting to higher ground immediately. So. Nothing to lose if you do, everything to lose if you don't. So, just go to higher ground now. Alright, it's lagging out my computer whenever I do quad box. Let's go back to our northeast Iowa storm. As you can see, it just continues to be a little bit of a mini MCS here. A mesoscale convective system. As it heads eastward towards areas south of La Crosse. Eventually it's going to head towards Platteville, Richland Center, all those areas there in southwestern Wisconsin. But right now it's chilling here in northeastern Iowa. So, our little rain shower here in Minnesota is now officially no longer a rain shower. It is a thunderstorm here, as we are seeing lightning being produced by this storm. So it's strengthening. I think the problem here is that originally this is a bigger cell, but it's kind of split. And now we've got these little cells that are going to be out here relatively discrete. They're going to try and strengthen and spin up some tornadoes, I bet you, as they head further eastward here towards Ely and Virginia. So this county in particular, St. Louis County, Minnesota. Surprised that I remembered that, but I do remember it. St. Louis County, Minnesota. You need to be on the lookout here. As we've got some showers and thunderstorms coming into the area, but the problem with these is they're going to be able to very quickly strengthen, so be prepared for rapidly changing weather conditions in that area there. Again, areas in between Virginia and Ely, most likely, are where most of these storms are going to impact. So again, our flash flood emergency here, we just got a brand new update on this. They're keeping it for even longer now. For the next 3.5 hours, a flash flood emergency is in effect for Hollywood, Florida. Again, the highest level of flash flood warning that exists. It doesn't get worse than a flash flood emergency. In fact, flash flood emergencies actually usually end up being more deadly than tornado emergencies. So, just a little piece of information for you there. So again, if you're just now tuning in, we have a flash flood emergency in southeastern Florida here. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Catastrophic damage is expected from this. Move to higher ground now. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject due to flooding or under an evacuation order. Now, to my knowledge, there are no evacuation orders in effect for this area, but Obviously, I don't know what every local official is saying in southeastern Florida right now, so if you've been told to get out, then go. This is, I mean, again, just an insanely devastating situation. Again, similar to a hurricane is what this is going to be like here for the next few hours for the folks out here in Hollywood. Now we have 1,000 customers in Windshiek County, Iowa, without power. Holy cow, dude. So, Fort Lauderdale is the number 3 trending on Twitter right now. Just some absolutely insane videos of these storms. There are way too many people trying to drive out here in this. This is really stupid. So, again, insanely dangerous situation here. And it's not gonna end anytime soon. It's only gonna get worse, unfortunately. It's insane. Again, we're talking about over a foot of fresh rainfall here. Fresh water. Currently in the Miami area. But more specifically, areas to the northwest of Miami. Areas like the Interstate 75 corridor, near Wagon Wheel and Turkey Foot. Miami, alright, it's flooding in Miami, it is. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad as some spots, right? Miami currently has about, 2.5 to 3 inches of rain, but, I mean, you go a little bit further north, Hollywood's got, 8.5 to 9 inches of rain. And, again, if you go out here to the Interstate 75 corridor, we've got some spots where we literally have over 15 inches of rain. You can see all those green dots coming in. More and more of those are coming in. Those are areas that have received more than 15 inches of rain. So much rain that it is breaking the scale. The scale is not designed to handle 15 or more inches of rain from one storm. But that's what's happening here. So again, insanely dangerous situation for everybody out here in southern Florida. I mean, if you're south of Cape Coral, you need to get to higher ground now. Everywhere south of Cape Coral is completely flooded out, most likely. Insanity down there. Absolute insanity. Looks like storm chaser Connor Croft is heading off to the north to chase some of our showers and thunderstorms in north central Minnesota. Again, these are going to continue to fire off and convect here, and they're going to try to strengthen and produce tornadoes, especially across St. Louis County. St. Louis County is so big that we are talking about that one county having we're getting hyper-focused on where we're talking about here because of how big these counties are. So, again, if you're just not tuning in, we were watching a severe weather outbreak that's unfolding here in the upper Midwest. And we're also watching a historic flash flood impact the Hollywood, Florida area. Sorry, I blanked. So, it's ridiculous, dude. So, again, we've got catastrophic flash flooding occurring across all of the southern tip of Florida right now, if you're just now tuning in. I mean, those pinks are enough to wash away, entire buildings in some instances. So, I mean, it's just insane. Again, those pinks are usually about a foot of rain whenever you see a pink, but in this instance, a lot of them are actually over a foot of rain. My goodness, dude. And it's only going to become more and more widespread here over the next several hours. Okay, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now. That is for parts of Iowa and Wisconsin here for our mini mesoscale convective system. As it heads towards Guttenberg and Boscobel, it's going to have the potential to produce damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. So if you're in this area, you need to be moving indoors immediately. This is for Clayton and Alamaki counties, Iowa, and Grant and Crawford counties in Wisconsin. So again, make sure that you are moving indoors immediately. That's for areas along Highway 18 on the Iowa-Wisconsin state line. Once again. So, again, we are expecting a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch to get issued for the Midwest literally any minute now. It is going to be, it's guaranteed to be sometime between now and the next hour. That's a guarantee. But I think it's actually going to happen within the next few minutes here. Oh, and there we go. Literally as soon as I say that, we now have a severe thunderstorm watch for portions of the Midwest. We have a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, likely South Dakota. It hasn't fully loaded in yet. Usually it takes it a minute on Omega. Let me go ahead and pull up the details of that for you guys. 11 seconds ago, a new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued. So again, this is for parts of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. Dang it, dude! They only have the they only have Spanish. This is so brand new. They don't even have the English version loaded yet. Oh yeah, they do. They had it 2 minutes ago. Okay, so a couple tornadoes possible. All right, that's gonna be the main threat. I think tornadoes are gonna be the main threat today. I'm a little surprised this is not a tornado watch, but again, a couple tornadoes possible on a severe thunderstorm watch is as high as it gets until they say it's a tornado watch. So anyway, a couple tornadoes possible. Widespread hail up to apple size likely. I think hail is going to be more of a secondary threat today, but it is going to be some big time hail that we're seeing. All right, we're going to be talking about hail potentially up to apple size, maybe even an isolated instance where it gets up to softball size. And then finally, scattered gusts up to 75 miles per hour likely. Kind of a standard tertiary threat there for the winds. The winds, there gonna be some damaging winds in there for sure, as we're already seeing. But it's not gonna be anything that we haven't seen before in this area. So that's gonna be in effect until 10 p.m. Central. And there we go. Mr. Storm is calling me. Hello. Oh, what? Somebody called the group chat, and I can't hear anybody. Oh, Mr. Storm didn't even mean to call me. You didn't mean to call me? Okay. He didn't even mean to call me. Alright, never mind then. So again, if you're just not tuning in, we have a brand spanking new severe thunderstorm watch out for parts of the Midwest, including the threats of tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. This is going to be in effect until 10 p.m., but the greatest time frame for a tornado potential is going to be between 4 and 6 p.m. You'll notice it's 3:30, all right? You may be thinking, where are the tornadoes? Well, we have these rain showers and thunderstorms up here in portions of northwestern St. Louis County. They are going to try to intensify, and there's enough spin in the environment where the tornado threat is going to be relatively high with these. And look at that. On this newest scan here, that cell just ramped up dramatically along Highway 53 in northwestern St. Louis County. So again, we are looking for the potential of some significant severe thunderstorms to develop over the next couple of hours here. So we're going to be watching this storm here over Highway 53 in northern St. Louis County very closely. I wouldn't call this a full-on blip watch because really it's only a very isolated area where we're going to be talking about. But I mean, you could call it a blip watch if you prefer, I guess, but it's mainly actually going to be quite a few cells that kind of bunch up. They're going to get really close. I don't know if it can be considered a blip watch. For anybody that's not aware, a blip watch is whenever we have an area to watch where even if we see an itty-bitty rain shower develop that big, we got to watch it because in 30 minutes it could turn into a storm that big. So, if that makes sense at all. But I don't think it's one of those situations. I think this is going to be more of a widespread chance. But not all the cells that we are going to see are going to become super big. In a blip watch, I mean, every shower that you get, it becomes super strong. All right, but in this instance, we're going to see a lot more rain showers and thunderstorms develop, but not all of them are going to become that strong, all right? I'd say out of this whole cluster, this is probably going to be the only one that really does something here as it heads towards Ely. So, I mean, we are watching right at the U.S.-Canada border today. So, there you go. Again, here is your thunderstorm along Highway 53 in northwestern St. Louis County, Minnesota. So anyway, Roman just messaged me and said he just got home. So if any of you watch my friend Roman, he may be going live in just a second. Or he may just join this stream. Okay, he says he's going live in a little bit. So, he just told me he's going to be live here in just a little bit, but not yet. Alright. Mr. Storm, Roman, and I have created a little group chat where we're going to do some projects. Holy crap, he just said he's going to stream for 8 to 10 hours. He said he's going to stream for 8 to 10 hours straight. Jeez. By the way, now we have 200 customers in Alameda County without power, and also 1,500 customers in Weinscheik County without power, so the numbers keep going up. It's not good. Not good news at all. Not at all. So. Wow, dude, look at that storm. It is really getting going there. And now it's a big-time hailstorm. The problem with this is so close to the U.S.-Canada border that they don't even have radar sites this far up here. We could look at one of the Canada radars, but I think Duluth is still probably closer. We could either look at Duluth, Dryden, and eventually Thunder Bay, but not yet. So let's see. Let's kind of measure this out, actually. Which radar site's closer here? About 100 miles for that one. 115 miles for that one. Hello, Sam. Alright. So right now this storm is near Ash Lake. We'll have to watch it as it continues to develop a greater hail core there. Also probably producing some big time threat of damaging winds as it continues to develop. It's not even in its fully matured stage yet, but it's getting there. And this is a new flash flood warning as of 6 minutes ago. This is for areas across southeast Florida, just some of these areas up here like Pembroke Pines, Southwest Ranches that were just outside of the other flash flood warnings. Now you're in one. So make sure that you are not driving and getting to higher ground immediately. I saw we got a radar update here right after I clicked off of it. So there you go. Alright, so yeah, Roman just said he's going to do chores and then I'll be live. So I'll probably end my stream whenever he goes live and send you guys over there. So we'll be live here for longer. I may be live for longer if necessary. And I think there's a good chance that I actually have to. So maybe, I don't even know why I said I was going to end off whenever he got back, because I'm probably not going to. Let's be real here. Just continuing to see absolutely ridiculously dangerous flash flooding conditions continue in southeast Florida here. Really the entirety of the southern tip of Florida. Let's actually turn on the excessive rainfall look for today. I have not looked at it yet. So we have a moderate... We have a moderate risk. I would have pushed it to a high risk, honestly. I was kind of expecting something like this to unfold, and I'm sure they were too, so I'm surprised they didn't just go for a high risk, but that's a moderate risk. So 40% of the people in this area will see excessive rainfall that meets flash flooding guidance most likely here. And you know, we're already seeing chunks of this moderate risk getting meeting flash flooding guidance, so probably already close to 40%. That's not how long am I going to be live for? I honestly have no idea. I could be live for 3 hours. I could be live for 15 more minutes. I don't know. It's not exact. That's not really what this moderate risk means, but it kind of is in a way, because what the moderate risk means here is if you're in it, you have a 40% chance to see flash flooding in your area and within 25 miles of your area. So if we have a 40% chance at every point here, then shouldn't 40% of these people see flash flooding? That's, I mean, that makes sense. And it would definitely match up with what we're seeing. I don't know. It's just something that's, I look at it at that perspective, and I don't think a lot of other people do. So, anyway. Again, we are tracking a strong to severe thunderstorm approaching Crane Lake, Minnesota. This is as close as you really get to the United States-Canada border here. With our severe weather threat anyway. We do actually have a severe thunderstorm watch in Canada. If we turn that on, we can see it extends into a good chunk of Canada here. And we've also got another one out to the west. Very large one there. So yeah. Oh, we do actually have some tornado warnings in Canada. So yeah, we may have some tornadoes out here in Canada. Right now, we've got some tornado warnings at the very least. Holy cow! Yeah, that's very close to producing a tornado there near Shoal Lake. So I know I don't have hardly any Canadian viewers that watch me for my weather content, but if any of you are watching here from Shoal Lake, Oakburn, Elphinstone, Strathclair, Fox Warren, Birdle, the Birdtail Sioux First Nation, Arrow River, you guys need to be taking shelter for the next hour to hour and a half, depending on what warning you're in there. Let's make sure I didn't leave anything on. Okay, I didn't. Yeah, I don't usually like to have my Canada warnings mix in with my United States warnings, because I don't really cover Canada. Alrighty. Some of Canada is an enhanced risk. Yep. The enhanced risk, I'm sure, would go further if the Storm Prediction Center issued outlooks in Canada. I mean, it wouldn't go out that far, but it would be something like this, most likely. More of a complete circle here. So, anyway. Again, some of these storms out here in Florida are still rotating a little bit, which is insane. Because we had these rotating storms out here all this morning in South Florida. Did I call this Canada the first time or Florida? I meant Florida. Very different areas in terms of their climate, their geography. Here's the thing, eventually this cell is going to be in Canada. It won't be in the United States anymore. It's kind of like a gray area of, do I even cover this or not? Because I try to keep things exclusively to the United States here. But I mean, we'll cover it as long as it's here. In northern Minnesota. The northern tip of Minnesota there. Again, there's a very concerning cell there in northwestern St. Louis County. Alrighty. So, again, if you're just not tuning in, we are covering severe weather across the Midwest and flash flooding in southern portions of Florida. Currently, we have a flash flood emergency in effect for Hollywood, and we have a flash flood warning in effect for Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Pembroke Pines, as well as sections of the Highway 41 corridor near Trailtown. So if you're in any of these areas, don't drive, stay inside, get to higher ground immediately. Again, it just ridiculous rainfall totals here. We're already seeing some spots get over 15 inches. Those little areas where you have your green dots in there, those are spots where the scale is literally breaking. The green is the color of the SPC outlook here. That's why it's green. But if we turned off the SPC outlook, it would be gray. The scale literally breaks because of how heavy this rainfall is. It doesn't think that this is an occurrence, or at least not a common occurrence. And it's not. It's very rare. So, that's what makes it insane. Really, though, I mean, we've been expecting this today. It's just crazy to actually watch it play out live. So... see if I have any updates for you guys from the Storm Prediction Center. No, I do not. Nothing new since that severe thunderstorm watch got issued. This is actually interesting. Hold on. Look at this. This is kind of a cool gradient. Look at this. The tornadoes are low. The wind threats are low. The hail threats are... the wind threats are moderate. The hail threats are high. Kind of cool how it goes from low to high. And the reason I said tornadoes would be the main threat today, even though the Storm Prediction Center is saying that, it's a low threat, is because obviously one tornado is way more dangerous than one, 3-inch hailstone even. So... that's why I'm saying tornadoes are a big-time threat. More people are going to see damaging winds and large hail than they are tornadoes, but I think overall, tornadoes are going to cause more destruction out here today. And again, I do think that the tornado corridor time frame is going to be mainly from 4 to 6 p.m., and we're approaching 4 p.m., and we're starting to see some of these cells pop off here, even as far west as the Dakotas. This one over Interstate 29 looks like it's definitely going to try and develop something. It already has taken a pretty interesting shape here near Morton. That's a weird name. So, pretty concerning stuff out there right now. And with the newest reflectivity scan, look at how much that bumped up. This is a 2-minute difference, guys. This is how explosive this environment is. I'd say whenever you get closer to the Dakotas, this is more of a blip watch area because there's way less of them, and they're going to have a chance to become stronger because of that fact. But the reason that the marginal risk cuts off here, and there's no risk of severe weather past this, and the risk is higher over here than it is over here, is because these are going to move out of this area pretty quickly and move into this region here. So look at this. And at 3:19, this is nothing. Not even a little sprinkle. But 36 minutes later, we got ourselves a fully fledged hailstorm. Absolutely insane stuff. Check up on our Miami storm in terms of its severe threats. Obviously, we've yapped about the flooding so much here, but the severe threats with this are really just going to be your damaging winds. There's not much of a severe threat with this at this point, other than maybe an isolated gust gets to, 55 to 60 miles per hour in that area. Maybe a little bit of tree damage or something, a power line gets knocked over. But you need to be staying indoors, and again, getting as high as you can because of that flash flooding, obviously. And now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to be for St. Louis County, Minnesota. Our cell is now warned. There you go, everybody. Crane Lake, Minnesota. You need to be moving indoors and away from windows immediately. This goes all the way up to the U.S.-Canada border here. So again, if you're in this area, you need to get indoors and away from windows immediately. Again, this is for Crane Lake, Minnesota. The very tippity top of Minnesota here has a severe thunderstorm warning. If it were any further north, this would be Canada's cell. So if you're just not tuning in, the National Weather Service in Duluth has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northern St. Louis County and northeastern Minnesota. This is just for the far northern tip of St. Louis County. So far north that not even Ely's included in it. So, again, if you're out here, you need to get indoors and away from windows right now. This is moving pretty quickly. It's moving off to the east at 45 miles per hour here. So, Crane Lake, I actually do think that this is just barely going to skim you. I think the northern tip of this is going to skim you, but I think you're going to miss the worst of it for the most part. Also, I just noticed this hail spike. How did I just now notice that? There's a hail spike with this storm here. It's very tiny. I mean, that's how I missed it, but yeah, it's crazy how Mother Nature gets mad at some spots sometimes. And, again, some of our storms out here in the far eastern sections of the Dakotas here are going to pop off. I mean, this one out here is in western Minnesota, but these are going to pop off and head eastward pretty quickly. The storm motion today overall is going to be pretty fast for pretty much every storm that we see. It's not going to be, like, ridiculously fast. Like, we're not talking about 70 to 80 miles per hour, but I mean, this 45 mile per hour storm, the one that's moving east at 45, is one of our slower ones, actually. So, oh, we'll throw up a double box. Double box doesn't lag too much. It's the quad boxing that really gets it. Really gets my computer. We may have some form of rotation up here, but it looks like to me that that's mostly contamination, actually. And again, we've got ourselves a little baby hail spike here. It's a chunky one. Again, this storm is approaching the Crane Lake area, as well as areas to the south of Crane Lake across parts of northern St. Louis County, Minnesota. This is going to go right along. It's going to parallel and even cross the border for a second into Canada here. It's going to go parallel to the Loon River. So, again, here's Crane Lake. If you're, camping out here by Crane Lake or something, or if you're at Crane Lake for whatever reason, you need to be getting indoors and away from windows immediately. Now, the good news is that this cell's likely going to miss you, but in case it doesn't, in case it takes a little turn to the north, you need to get indoors, because even the littlest turn to the north is going to put this in your direction here. So, got to take that seriously. Looks like we do have quite a few homes out here in the along Crane Lake Road. This is Crane Lake Road. This is the actual lake up here. I think the road is definitely going to get some action, but the lake itself is probably going to get spared. But even the road, it's really going to be the southern part of the road that gets hit by it the worst. Well, actually, I can't say that because it's a really big road. It's still the northern part, but it's the northern tip even, but you get what I mean. South of the end of Crane Lake Road. So again, this is our little baby hail spike here. This is telling us that we've got some big time hail here. If you're just now tuning in, we have reached the 4 o'clock hour, and we are covering some significant severe weather across parts of the Midwest. We're also covering extreme flash flooding down in Florida. If you're new to the channel here, I would appreciate if you went ahead and clicked those like and subscribe buttons down below. It's optional, but it would really help me out, and I go live for all these severe weather events. Not even just all the big ones. I go live for everyone, pretty much. I've been live every day for the past few months now, and the severe weather is looking like it's not going to calm down anytime soon. So, still got quite a few streams ahead of us here for the next couple of weeks, probably even the next couple of months here, probably every day or so, unless I get sick or something, or if I'm out of town. I will say the second week of June, I will not be able to do any streams because I'll be out of town. Unfortunately, I'll be in Michigan, but outside of that, I would not see a reason why I wouldn't be able to stream unless I got, like, unexpectedly sick or something. Wow. So we are at 70 dBZs now with our storm here near Crane Lake, and the hail spike is getting more and more impressive. It's getting taller. Actually, that's not even 70 dBZ, that's 71. Jeez Louise. Alright, Roman says he's going live in 10 minutes. So, after I end stream, I'll send you guys over to his channel, if you're interested. Alright, and we have a new severe thunderstorm warning now. Oh, he's actually going live now, okay. Our new severe thunderstorm warning is in southwestern Wisconsin, and it's an extension for our mini MCS here near Lancaster and Platteville. So if you're in this area, you need to be moving indoors immediately. So, again, watching our storm up here near Crane Lake. I'll put his stream in the chat whenever he goes live. He's not live yet, but I'll put his stream in the chat when he does. We got ourselves a really impressive hail spike now with this storm, and also a pretty good hail core once again. With our storm along the U.S.-Canada border there. So, wow. Look at that, dude. It's trying to do a little double hail spike thing because the hail core is kind of split into two now. So look at this. We got a double hail spike. You can see definitely the one on the left is much more impressive, and that makes sense because we have the higher DBZ values over here. So that kind of lines up. But anyway. Alrighty, so again, if you're just not tuning in, we are covering severe weather here in the United States. We have another severe thunderstorm warning in Minnesota for one of our cells out here that really rapidly developed. Ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds once again for the storm near White Earth now. And again, these are going to head off to the east pretty rapidly here. This one's moving to the east at 40 miles per hour, so about the same as this storm here. But alright, looks like Roman is setting up the live now. Looks like he accidentally clicked schedule stream instead of start streaming though. Says that he has a stream. Okay, there we go. He is live, so I'll go ahead and throw his link in the chat. I would appreciate it if you could keep us both up at the same time. But yeah, for anybody that's getting tired of hearing my voice, go ahead and switch over to Roman's channel whenever I'm done. I'll have everybody go over there. But right now, again, I even he said it himself, so I don't feel bad saying this, but I'd prefer that you stay with me or keep both of us up. But after my stream's over, he said that I should direct everybody to his channel. But even he said it himself that whenever we're both live, that I should go. So I don't want to sound like egotistical or anything, but yeah. Check up on our flash flood emergency here. Again, this is a particularly dangerous situation. This is a life-threatening situation for Pembroke Park, Hollywood, Miramar, and Lakewood Estates. If you're in this area, you got to get to higher ground now. There are numerous reports of catastrophic flash flooding now out of the Hollywood area. So and we've got a pretty big-time hail spike here, a pretty chunky hail spike with our storm because it's actually two different hail spikes, but they look almost exactly identical. But the hail core is kind of split into two pieces here, so we have two different hail spikes. Now it's kind of merged back, so it's one chunky one. So, again, if you're just now tuning in, we have an ongoing severe weather outbreak here across portions of the United States, mainly Minnesota, but we did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning actually in North Dakota, actually along the North Dakota-Minnesota state line, but this is once again for the exact same threats of ping pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is for our cell here near Morton that, again, developed very quickly. And now Doran and Campbell need to be getting indoors and away from windows. This is where the activity really picks up. Again, I was saying the main tornado threat was from 4 to 6 p.m. We're now at 4:09 p.m. We are getting there. We're starting to see some of these cells rotate more and more here. They're popping up really fast. They're becoming pretty dangerous pretty quickly. So, we're going to watch them all here over the next couple of hours. Alrighty. So none of our cells have any like insane rotation yet. I mean, the one near Crane Lake's actually going pretty good. There is quite a bit of contamination in this area, so it's hard to see this real well, but There's definitely some sort of rotation there that we'll have to watch out for, but actually it looks like it's going to try and develop over here most likely, where we have this area of inflow kicking into the storm. We can see some sort of what looks like a hook feature here with this big chunky part of the storm that's kind of developed here because of that inflow. Got our very clear forward flank downdraft. Now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. We have 3 warnings for this one storm, and it's not like they're just issuing warnings so far ahead of this thing because it is just racing to the east, guys. This is moving east at, actually it's not even going that fast. It's moving east at 45 miles per hour, but still. We have more reports of damage now. There have been numerous reports of tree and power line damage across southwestern Wisconsin with these storms already, and they've just traveled into southwestern Wisconsin. A few trees down around the Glen Haven and Bagley. Fire department estimated 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. Trees and power lines down. So if you're in Spring Green, Dodgeville, Mineral Point, now's your chance. Now's your chance to get indoors. These storms are racing off to the east here. Check up on our white earth storm here in Minnesota. There's definitely a form of damaging winds with this storm. Not really any rotation, though. Not clear anyway, but we may have some sort of inflow trying to kick into this storm here in this little spot where we see that poke into the storm. But so anyway, we are actually going to have a pretty sweet view of this storm from this camera here in Brooklyn, Wisconsin, as it rolls through. Big time supercells once again up here in Canada that are tornado warned. Some of them are. Look at all this hail, this rotation. And again, that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be seeing here in Minnesota later this afternoon and this evening. So again, we got some sort of rotation here. Okay, this warning has just now been condensed. This is still for ping pong ball sized hail and 60 mile per hour damaging wind gusts. Really not even a point of changing that. They barely condensed it at all. But I guess they're just letting everybody know that, hey, we are continuing to see the same threats with this storm here as it moves eastward, now over Crane Lake Road, the northern portion of Crane Lake Road here. And, again, the actual lake itself is just barely getting clipped by this thing. But the worst of it's not too far south of that. So, you go not even a mile southward from Crane Lake, and you are in an insane hailstorm. Actually, it'd be about 2 miles south, but we're seeing more and more of these big-time thunderstorms pop up here. So when your Big Fork is probably going to be our next one to do the thing. What happened was it was one cell, but it underwent a cell merger because another one tried to develop in that same spot. And the cell merger took over, and it has created a pretty big storm here that's undergoing rapid intensification as it heads eastward towards Highway 65. So if you're just not tuning in, we have been live for over an hour now, close to an hour and a half actually, covering severe weather across portions of the Midwest, as well as insane flash flooding down in southern Florida. Just absolutely horrific, the stuff that we're seeing down here. But, also bring up this northwestern Iowa cam here. There we go, that's pretty nice. Thank you, Gooseman. Again, I know we got a lot of viewers just now tuning in. If you are just now tuning in, we are covering severe weather across portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then also some catastrophic flash flooding down in South Florida, as we do now have a flash flood emergency from the National Weather Service. And it's only getting worse down here, unfortunately. I have no good updates or news about this where it's like, hey, it's stopped out of nowhere. No, I mean, it's just continuing to pile on. All those green areas is where the scale is broken, and there are over 15 inches of rain falling. So we have several spots here with over 15 inches of rain along the Interstate 75 corridor. Probably getting close to 1.5 feet at this point, honestly, in some spots. It's sad. It is. But the thing is that there's actually more rain than what this indicator is saying down in South Florida here because of the previous storms from the past few days. So there's already fresh waterfall in there. So what we're seeing today, I mean, that's just adding on to the totals. Sorry, my computer's being very loud. My goodness, it sounds like I'm like using a hairdryer or something. My computer usually does not struggle this much. Maybe I need to stop double boxing. That's probably part of it. But still, dude. Calm down. No new warnings for a little bit here. We have not had any. Again, we still have our severe thunderstorm warning in northeastern St. Louis County, Minnesota here. Getting some hail over Crane Lake right now, at the northern portion of Crane Lake Road, most likely. And again, the actual lake is just barely getting sprinkled on, but if you go 1 mile to 2 miles south of that, big time hailstorm in this area. So, again, we do have some form of rotation here, but it's not as bad as it actually looks. We're just looking really high up into the atmosphere here because of our distance from the radar site. But yeah, we are, part of this storm is now officially in Canada here. And we are really tracking along the border today. I know we have a lot of viewers on this channel that live in Michigan. And Michigan today is fine. However, tomorrow, Michigan is in for some severe weather. We got a slight risk for the southwest corner of the state. I'd also like to point out we did get an addition of an enhanced risk, actually, for tomorrow at the 1730 outlook from the SBC here. This enhanced risk goes all the way from areas like Maryville, Missouri, back into Ottawa, Illinois. Now, the main threat is going to be damaging wind gusts, potentially some gusts getting from 80 to 85 miles per hour at times along the swath here. Yeah, tomorrow does look concerning, Gooseman, but I mean, It's going to be pretty intense here. The hail threat is going to be another thing to watch. Potentially some hail gets up to maybe some baseball-sized hail, I'd say. And then going into Friday here, we have another slight risk across the plains, and then also the leftovers of our line of storms that we're going to have from tomorrow is going to be lingering here in the northeast. We're going to have some storms out in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont. A lot of New England, where we're going to have the potential for some severe storms. Very populated region, obviously. But, this is going to be in Mr. Storm's neck of the woods. He's out there in Long Island. He's in the marginal risk. He's probably going to get added to the slight risk here. This does not include part of New York, but it does include the northern part of New York here, if that makes sense. But yeah. Back over here to the day one outlook for our storms in Minnesota. Continuing to see big time severe thunderstorms popping off here. We now have a report of quarter-sized hail out of our storm in St. Louis County. That was from earlier. That was from before the storm was even as intense as it is now. So the hail is probably even bigger now. Again, potentially up to ping pong ball size. We got a couple of hail cores here. One of them's in Canada. One of them's in the United States, right around the Crane Lake area. Again, here's your kind of a hook echo there. We got a little bit of inflow going into this storm. We may see some form of rotation try and develop out of this, but it's gonna be tricky for it. Definitely not a textbook supercell by any means, but it may have a potential to produce a tornado here. Getting some sort of rotation out of this, some sort of rotation from here. At the very least, these are damaging wind pockets, if not rotation once again. So, holy cow, dude, look at this storm. The White Earth storm is producing some big-time hail. So, just a quick update here. I mean, there's really not much to say. I'm not really checking out our flash flooding that much because there's really not much to say about it. It's just continuing to pile on here. We're seeing more and more spots with over 15 inches of rainfall, getting close to 1.5 feet of rainfall along the Interstate 75 corridor. Just insane stuff out here, man. Let's go ahead and go back up to our Midwest storms here. Again, right now we're mainly watching Minnesota, but we do have that mini mesoscale convective system in Wisconsin, and some of our storms are firing up as far west as the eastern portions of the Dakotas here. So, pretty much all of the upper western Midwest is under the gun today for some significant severe weather. And then tomorrow, we're going to be talking about more of the, just the western Midwest, not the upper western Midwest. Areas along the upper Mississippi Valley, again, across parts of Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas. Probably going to see something in my neck of the woods. Probably some showers and thunderstorms. I'm in the marginal risk tomorrow. But yeah. I'd be watching this area. It looks like it's trying to develop some rotation there. There's definitely a hook feature there. We can see quite a bit of inflow going into the storm near Natowash need a wash. I mean, I don't like the look of that. It's a nasty one for sure. So we'll have to watch this again. This may be our first tornado producer of the day. Well, I guess technically not, because we had 2 tornadoes this morning in Florida, but one of our first of the day in the Midwest. Yeah, we did get another confirmed tornado in Florida as well. At the end of last stream, we thought it was one, but there was actually a second one. And potentially a third one as well. There were quite a few customers without power in Martin County, but that's not confirmed. I don't think that it was. I think we had 2 tornadoes this morning, most likely. Yeah, this is looking pretty concerning here. If you're in this area, you already need to be indoors and away from windows anyway, because this storm is producing 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts and hail up to ping pong ball size, potentially even larger now. But also, it's trying to rotate. What we're seeing here is inflow going into our storm, and that's what's creating this hook feature here. This is what we call a hook echo on the radar. And whenever we match that up with a velocity couplet, that usually indicates some rotation. Right now, there's nothing crazy, but there may be some broad, weak rotation in here. So we're going to have to watch this pretty darn closely as it heads off to the east. That newest reflectivity scan is showing us that same look there, pretty much. A little bit less so on the inflow, though, so could be a sign of weakening. We'll have to look at the velocity update. There it is. I mean, not too much yet, so we're in the clear now. I'm just saying we may have to look out later down the road here, later down the line. Our mesoscale convective system in Wisconsin is continuing to produce damaging wind gusts. We got a report of a 64-mile-per-hour wind gust that was recorded about 21 minutes ago. And, I mean, it's just chugging along here, isn't it? Seriously is. It's, maybe even be producing a higher damaging wind threat now than it was then. So we gotta watch this. And this is heading for Spring Green, Dodgeville, and Mineral Point in southwestern Wisconsin. So if you're in any of those towns there, you need to be indoors. Preferably indoors, but I mean a moving vehicle, it doesn't have to be moving, but a vehicle would work as well. But I will say it's going to be kind of dangerous to be out there driving with winds that high. We got our stupid radar glitch here. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, the hook echo is a little less concerning now, but we are definitely still seeing some inflow winds poke into this storm, and it has been upgraded to lime-sized hail now, so we now have a considerable severe thunderstorm. Alrighty. Went ahead and updated the stream title here to Considerable Severe Thunderstorm Warning. As, again, we got ourselves a decent hailstorm here near Elbow Lake. So again, if you're in this area, you need to be indoors and away from windows in Elbow Lake, Minnesota. It's in west central Minnesota. So, alright, we got ourselves another storm to watch here, as it's got a hook shape to it near Wapeton, Wapeton, whatever, but it's approaching Foxhome. It's gonna ride Highway 210 here towards Fergus Falls. It's got a hook shape, and we can't really see the velocities from here because of our distance from the radar site, so it's gonna make this storm pretty dangerous. Again, if you're in this area, you need to be indoors and away from windows immediately. Ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possibly occurring with this storm, and again, I mean, it's definitely trying to wrap up something there. You see where those grays meet the reds. That indicates some weak rotation there, or some lower level rotation there in the atmosphere. Let's look at tilt 2. That just really shows us the winds are higher up, which the winds are more damaging higher up, which makes sense, because I mean it's higher up in the atmosphere. But anyway, I will say, if you're like flying out here today over the upper Midwest, there is going to be a ton of turbulence, especially if you're like out here, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. Tons of turbulence probably. New severe thunderstorm warning for Lake George. It's an extension for our storm that is producing our lime-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds in west central Minnesota. If you're in that area, you need to move indoors and away from windows immediately. So again, if you're just not tuning in, we've been live for about an hour and a half now, covering severe weather across the Midwest and flash flooding down in Florida. Just a quick update on some of our rainfall totals down here. Let's take a look at the storm total precip. Gosh, dude. Again, those greens are spots with more than 15 inches of rain. And that is just becoming more and more widespread, and you don't want to see that. Especially along a major interstate here. I-75 is important. It's an important one. And I'm not just saying that. It goes, like, from Ohio back down into Florida. Actually, it goes even up into Michigan, it looks like here. Yeah, it goes from Detroit back into South Florida. So it goes really far. This mesoscale convective system, I think, is a lot more damaging than we actually think it is. Look at all these county outages. All these counties in northeast Iowa have customers without power. 200 customers in Howard County, 1,000 customers in Weinscheid County, 200 customers in Alameda County, 500 customers in Clayton County, 250 customers in Fayette County. I mean, tons of outages. We got tons of damage reports of trees down, power lines down. We've got, 65-mile-per-hour winds being recorded, 64-mile-per-hour winds being recorded. It's pretty scary. Pretty scary stuff. So again, if you're in this area, you need to be indoors. In Dodgeville, Mineral Point, or Spring Green, Wisconsin, we are going to see this line come in with all of its fury here on our cyclone report here that Radar Omega has provided us with in Brooklyn, Wisconsin. Looks like the worst of it, though, is going to stay up to the north of Brooklyn. It's going to actually head towards Madison, which is pretty bad because Madison's obviously way more populated than areas to the south of it. So, let's go back over to our storm with our hook echo. This one's also been upgraded to lime-sized hail now. Jeez, hail spike, massive DBZ readings. If you're in this area, again, you need to be indoors and away from windows. Guys, I am, like, starving. I ate lunch really early at, like, 11 a.m., and I haven't eaten anything in, like, 5.5 hours, so I'm going to go eat something. I'm going to end off the stream here, but we're going to be back later whenever we have tornado warnings. But I do want you guys all to go over to Roman's stream. There's the link just one more time to hammer it home there in chat. Go join his stream now. I'm ending off here. Again, thank you all for watching. I will be back later, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.